Well, I guess you can say shit got rather interesting really quick today. Now, I'm gonna just get right to the point. I happen to be in a Facebook group that Marbles happened to be in. He found a post about me talking about an ex-girlfriend who almost inflicted great bodily harm upon me. And meanwhile, his troll of a friend Noah decided that he was gonna bullshit people about certain events and cut out certain things that happened so that the context wouldn't fucking matter. And the funny thing is, he does this knowing that people on Facebook know my name and know the town I live in because of my Facebook profile. He basically openly says that I am somehow a pedophile for posting an image of somebody which is censored heavily in the area in which it should be censored. And basically, I'm just gonna break down what happened after that. I blocked Noah, I deleted the post, and I left the group. And the reason I did all three of those things is because A, I realized that Noah pretty much sullied my reputation in that group with like a single fucking sentence. B, I realized that staying in the group after Noah said that would basically just make more people ask me more fucking questions, which I would have answered, but honestly, I don't know how many people would have listened to me had I tried to explain myself anyway. Because people don't tend to listen to someone if they're accused of something, because we live in a culture nowadays where you cannot have proof and be wrong at the same time. And if the evidence is only circumstantial, people tend to take that over 100% confirmed guilt. And C, quite frankly, it just became tiring and I didn't want anything to do with him. And I know for a fact that if I stayed in the group, I would eventually run into him anyway. He would find a way to post vicariously through someone else. He would ask someone else to post in the group on his behalf, most likely, and then I would have motherfuckers fucking with me from all different directions because of the fact that they probably had pull there since they'd been in the group fucking longer. So I managed to talk to Marbles on his Facebook account. You know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna call him Paul. Because honestly, I feel like calling him Marbles is kind of giving him too much credit, like saying that he's like bigger than he actually is. Because quite frankly, he's another human being. He's not some sort of infallible entity that is superior to everyone if they make a single mistake. Or in that case, one big stupid fucking mistake that follows them around everywhere because people are so desperate for drama. Thing is, though, I talked to Marbles, basically asking him what the fuck his damage was, what his issue was, because at the time I did not realize he was part of the group. I did not notice that he himself had reacted, and I found his account only because of the fact that he had either liked or commented or replied to what Noah said. But nevertheless, when he and I started doing a little back and forth, it actually started relatively civil, and that was actually a big fucking surprise for me, considering the fact that Marbles has a long and sordid history of acting like a complete psycho to people when it comes to people doing shit that he does not agree with or does not approve of, or doing things that simply make him feel like he's not the most special snowflake there ever was. The thing is, I basically talked to him. I started trying to ask him a series of questions about shit that he did that could have invaded the privacy of other people who I know. That I asked him if he felt that it was fine that people like Gage Exposed and other people like that had threatened my girlfriend with rape and threatened me with murder because of the shit that he said. To which he didn't even answer, like he didn't even give me a definitive reply. He basically just sat there, kind of like giving me the digital 1,000-yard stare where he doesn't hear a single fucking thing I say, and he just kind of pretends that I didn't say anything. All the while, he started insulting me like, okay, pedo, chomo. It's like pedophile, it's like, well, why the fuck are you saying all these things if you know them to not actually be true? I mean, if I were an actual pedophile, I would have done what Omnipolitics did, where he openly admitted it. I think it's kind of ridiculous that a so-called pedophile would be dating a woman a year older than them. I mean, wouldn't that be kind of the opposite of what a pedophile would do? Wouldn't that kind of be a bit too fucking ironic, and wouldn't that be a little bit ridiculous? But nevertheless, it just began with this like little pointless shit slinging with nothing but insults, and I started asking him questions. And basically, he just pretended that he didn't hear anything I fucking said, responded with an insult, trying to get me heated enough to join a Skype call with him. And it's obvious why he wanted me in a Skype call. I mean, it's so fucking obvious that it's not even funny. Like, normally people like him want people in Skype calls that they've had problems with in the past. It's not to set the record straight, it's not to clarify misconceptions. Because last time I tried to clear things up about that particular topic, all that happened was Burn Coalition and Nick gave me the runaround, kept calling me a pedophile over and over again instead of listening to the point I was trying to make about context and about censorship. And the fact that TV shows and other things like that censor things in the exact same way, and yet for some reason you don't see people labeling them as pedophiles. However, all that seemed to fall upon deaf ears because all they simply did was go around the same repetitive bullshit where they just browbeat me and browbeat me. They basically just fucking did that until finally I got frustrated and caved. And it wasn't an admission of guilt as to being a pedophile, it was an admission of guilt of having done something stupid and pulled a really immature prank. Which should have been more thought out, it should have been more tastefully prepared, it should have just been a picture of his face instead of the picture that I had used. But the picture itself was censored heavily in the areas in which it should have been censored. Like, there was no reason to censor any other area other than his junk, which had a plain fucking photoshopped over it anyway. But I did the extra censorship just to make sure that I was falling in line with YouTube's terms of service and their guidelines. Because even though it may have been a dick thing to do, no pun intended, I still wanted it to be following the rules. The thing is, though, instead of just simply criticizing my choice of how I did things, it became more or less just a never-ending smear campaign. And it's because of that that I did not want to come to a Skype call with Marbles. Because I knew for a fact that if I did, it would just evolve into the same bullshit that it always had evolved with him. Basically, I would end up joining a fucking Skype call just so he, Heather, and anyone else in between could bullshit some more, or basically just say shit towards me and make me feel shitty about myself, all the while knowing that I almost seriously harmed myself, if not killed myself, the last time that shit happened. And here's the funny part, he admits to not caring. Like, he openly admits to not caring that it could have had caused me to kill myself. Because apparently if another person dies because of constant harassment by people like him, it's perfectly fine. But if we all know the shoe was on the other foot, he'd be screaming and crying and demanding other people give him justice. And honestly, it's not even about what you did to me. Like, what you did to me is not the important part here. You can call me an asshole, you can call me whatever the fuck you want till you're blue in the face, but that doesn't make it true. I mean, I can say that it rains candy on fall days, but that does not make that statement true. I mean, throwing a handful of candy corn on the ground when someone's not looking and saying it's raining candy isn't the same as it actually raining candy. Just like when you try to strawman the fuck out of an argument by saying, well, you're doing this, so it's this, despite the fact that everything points the opposite direction. And when I tried to confront him about other things that people had done because of the shit that he had said, he more or less basically evaded the question or ignored it entirely. Because he realized that if he answered the question, he wouldn't have anything to motivate me to join in the call. It was basically just him trying to either piss me off to the point where I'd be heated enough to join, or try to get me into the call so that he could bullshit and basically treat me like shit, scream at me and act like a fucking psycho. And the funny thing is, someone who knowingly enjoys seeing other people in mental distress like that, especially someone who has a disability, and you know they have a disability, they admit to it, they openly discuss it with other people who you have talked to and know because of all this little drama bullshit. And the fact that you seem to target me not because of what I said, not because of what I did, because honestly, if I really had to guess, it's because of the autism. I think the autism is your biggest fucking trigger. It's what pisses you off. The fact that someone that has autism can call you out for being a fucking hypocrite, can call you out for not addressing double standards within your own circle of friends, who can call you out for being a manipulative fucking sociopath, who has your own girlfriend trying to contact the other person's girlfriend when both these people clearly want nothing more to do with you. Like, I'm sorry, Marbles, but it's over. I'm breaking up with you. I'm sorry, Paul, but I don't want a relationship with you. I never did. I mean, you're acting like my ex. You're like overly obsessed about everything that I do. And even if it does not overtly show, there are certain little red flags you're showing which give me the impression that you're still not over it. Like, the reason I bring shit up that you did in the past, it's not because I'm not over it, it's because I want to give context as to what events led up to it. I'm not gonna bullshit people and, like, spoon feed them handfuls of information just so you can pretend that you're justified in acting like a complete fucking crazy person. And it feels kind of bad, doesn't it, that someone who has mild autism can call you crazy and know full well that you happen to fit into that exact category considering the approach you have to these sort of things. I mean, seriously, you try to fucking piss me off and infuriate me, like you try to get me aggravated enough to go into a call with you, and when I don't do it, you basically just keep insulting me. And it didn't grease the wheels of negotiation, if anything. It made me have less and less confidence as to how civil you're gonna be. And that's the thing, like, you're not self-identifying. You can't realize that what you're doing is the type of shit that a sociopath would do. I mean, you've proven to be a sadist who enjoys seeing other people emotionally distraught for your own amusement. I mean, that's why you leaked some guy 827's argument with his fiance. It wasn't because you wanted to expose him or save his former fiance. It's because you wanted to shit on him. The same reason you created that false quote from Official Gattaca, the same reason you created the false quote from Ranter and Shades. It wasn't about trying to get even with them because of something they made that you didn't like. It was because of the fact that they starved you for attention. They refused to give you the attention that you were so desperate for, so you had to do something to try to reach out at them, to try to swipe at them, to try to get their attention. Basically, it's like the equivalent of a fucking Facebook poke. You're trying to provoke them and piss them off to the point where they give you what you want. And now someone's going to say, well, you're feeding the troll right now, Gage. It's like, yeah, I'm feeding a troll, but the thing is, I'm feeding the troll by acting calm and civil. I may be swearing, but I'm not angry.